Could the leader of the free world be the lowest common denominator?
I intend to find the killers wherever they may hide and run them down.
We don't get fooled again.
George Bush is not my ideal leader. I think he's about as dumb as any politician the United States has had, with the possible exception of Ronald Reagan.
I mean, really, think about the United States, okay? Here we are. We're a country that's one of the founding fathers discovered electricity. Great inventors, scientists. Look what we've devolved to. A guy who's proud that he was the king of the keggers.
President Bush actually gave a talk at the commencement at Yale this past year where he said to the C students, you too can be president of the United States.
He's proud of it. He wears it right on his sleeve. Stands up and says, yeah, I was a C student. I was just a big party boy.
Let me say something about Bush and Bushisms. One of the things I was always struck by talking to him was at the same time as he would stumble over the simplest things, he had a kind of depth of language in other ways.
He calls the people of Pakistan's Pakis.
I don't think there was ever a moment where it was normal to elect intellectuals to public office.
But intelligence has never seemed to be a requirement.
We have a president who prides himself on his bluntness. He, therefore, exults in certain propositions.
This will be a monumental struggle of good versus evil.
That don't add up. They don't make sense, but they sound firm.
And it's a struggle between good and it's a struggle between evil.
The media will not raise any of the rational questions that real journalists would raise for a rational population of citizens of a democracy. For example, the axis of evil.
An axis of evil.
Bush used that phrase against the wishes of many of the people around him. He liked it, liked the sound of it. He may not know what the actual axis was back in World War II. The evidence suggests that he doesn't know. It doesn't matter. He liked the sound of it. Three nations, evil, all working together, fine.
The mind of the successful politician is a lot more like the mind of the successful artist than it is like the mind of the successful intellectual. It's a job of seeing new patterns and new possibilities, not of analyzing words and data.
But I'm committed to reducing the amount of nuclear weaponry.
Even within the worldview, the confines of the Bush-Cheney worldview, it was inane, it was stupid, didn't make any sense, you see? But nobody asked that question. This is what happens. You have an official statement by the president, which is inane and nonsensical.
And it's a struggle between good and it's a struggle between evil.
The media simply presents it, and the media's sheer presentation has a kind of authority. They raise no questions. They don't make the obvious point. They don't say, wait, whoa, what are you talking about?
Because I know what it means to put food on your family. Huh? What the hell was that he just said?
We tend, each of us, to think, gee, maybe I'm the only one who thinks this. Or worse, maybe I'm crazy,
Yesterday, a senior government official called the President of the United States a moron.
He's a friend of mine, and he's not a moron at all.
Will the government hold the official who called the President of the United States a moron accountable by demanding his or her resignation?
He is a well-educated guy, even though some people don't seem to think he is.
He's not well-educated, but he went to the good schools.
Certainly an advantage is not being too smart, because people don't like know-it-all. So for some people, to appear as an average Joe has a lot of benefits.
Candidates are not real people. They're trained puppets. So George Bush, for example, who's an elite Yale fraternity boy, is trained to make him look like he's a Texas roughneck. So he has to say heck and gosh and, put a cowboy hat on.
He acts as if he's speaking to children.
We cannot wait for the final proof, the smoking gun that could come in the form of a mushroom cloud.
We all fall for it. Are we stupid? No!
Could the leader of the free world be the lowest common denominator? He couldn't be an idiot because he was elected, although some dispute that. He's not an imbecile because he hardly ever falls down.
Bush is not a moron. And to call him that is grossly incorrect.
Like Fubar, he knew how to play a regular guy. Like Adam Sandler, he knows how to hide his intelligence. He's a man of action. He likes war a lot. Would a smart guy play dumb to get ahead? And if so, what does that say about our world?
If someone said to me I was an enormous idiot, I would say thank you very much. Well, I got the idea for my book, Ignorance is Bliss. Pretty much for my own life, I was sad and confused, and I was trying to find a solution. And eventually I realized that admitting you have a problem isn't the solution, it's the problem. So when you think about something, you're just causing damage to yourself. I thought a lot about thinking, and I eventually decided it was best not to think. My slogan is, a mind is a terrible thing. Unfortunately, since we came down from the trees, the society forces you to think at a very young age, so you have to instill a willful stupidity, which is ignorance. If you saw a herd of cows, people think cows are stupid, I think it's generally agreed. Would those cows be happier knowing that they were cows and that they would be milked and then slaughtered? No, they wouldn't be happier from that. So why would people be happier knowing that their life is pointless? It's actually thinking that's caused all the damage. You don't see fish burning coal, for example, or creating missiles. Fish swim and they do it well. But it's actually, I think, intelligence that has gotten people into trouble. And we'd all be a lot better off if we just stopped doing that. You have to retrain yourself to stop thinking, to stop wondering. And my book, of course, has a 7-step program to relieve you of thinking. And not only just thinking, emotions as well. You could be back to being a true idiot within a week. Stop thinking is the first step in my program. It's probably the simplest and the most important. Because if you want to become stupid and ignorant, the first thing you have to do is stop thoughts from entering your brain. You're drunk and you drive a car and you have an accident. The natural inclination is to blame yourself for this when it's not your fault. And when you blame yourself, then you start thinking again. So you have to stop that. Instead, you shift the blame to things like the bar, forcing you to drink, car companies for creating cars that can damage telephone poles, and especially the telephone companies for putting telephone poles on the road which you could run into. Once you let go of emotions and you've stopped thinking, then you have to stop feeling things like,
why didn't I take a cab? There are no sensible answers to those questions. How could I have been so stupid?
Is it possible that we're all stupid?
Stupidity and intelligence had nothing to do with education. Education is terribly important. But there are people with not much formal education who are extremely bright. And I've met university professors who are totally stupid.
What I think is, look, there's book smart, there's street smart, there's common sense. And you get many a guy who graduated from Harvard and can't get along in the real world. He can't function. He's almost like an idiot savant. And yet you got some street guy that grew up that didn't graduate high school that's a multimillionaire and owns a trucking company.
You know, I know manual workers who are, I think, smarter than the people in the faculty clubs and solve harder problems.
They're just happy having their 9-to-5 job. The kids jump on them when they come home. Like I said, they eat a plate of pasta. Sunday they get along with their family. I don't think they're dumb guys. I just think maybe they're the smart ones that know what they want out of life.
Probably from the beginning of recorded time, people made themselves look smart by calling other people dumb. But few things make us feel smarter than distancing ourselves from cavemen. In urban human circles, a monobrow immediately denotes lower intelligence.
What was it like to wear those kind of eyebrows?
It was like, I don't understand the question. You stick them in and you go to work.
I guess, how did it make you feel? Did you feel more intelligent or less intelligent?
No, it didn't make me feel more intelligent, it made me feel more hairy. Also,